Yoshihiro, you can start.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Now we will start session 5 of the Global Hands-on Universe 2021. And the first speaker of this session is Karadeo Petrananda. And the finding the best site. Okay. Finding the best site for equatorial observatory in Indonesia, right?
Yes.
Okay, so please start your presentation.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, okay.
Okay, then
Please go
I'll
ahead.
start. Okay, then I'll start
now this is edit mode, so please use display mode.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, please start.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon everyone. Konnichiwa. My name is Petra. And I'm very honored to be here and present to you all about my research. So before I'll tell you about my research, I'd like to tell you a little about my community that I established in 2020. And the name is this, Alpha Dio Astronomy Club. And this is a club for kids and teens who are interested in astronomy. And there are several activities in this club, such as discussion about astronomy in each week, and sometimes we also do training. I established this club because, of course, I'm interested in astronomy, and I'm interested in astronomy because I like something that is mysterious. And my interest in astronomy also brings me to my research on finding the best site for an equatorial observatory in Indonesia. The other reason why I do this research is because in 2019, I visited observatories in Sydney and Canberra, Australia, and I was amazed with those observatories. And that made me wonder, as the country with the longest equator line in the world, can Indonesia have the best location for an equatorial observatory in the world? And that's why I do this research. Once again, my name is Petra. I'm from Indonesia and I'm 14 years old. As we know, across the world, people have interacted with the sky since centuries ago and brought many advantageous knowledge to mankind, such as agriculture, weather, navigation, and many more. One of astronomy science is astrophysics, which is development is supported by the use of observatory. So the location of the observatory will determine the quality of the sky information that are collected. On the other side, observatory that is located in the equator lines can observe objects outer space, both in the northern and southern hemisphere. And Indonesia have the longest equator line in the world, but Indonesia doesn't have an observatory which is located in the equator line. And that's why I want to search for the best location for an equatorial observatory in Indonesia. To find out, first, I used the teaching of Professor Vic Dillon, an astrophysics lecturer in Sheffield University in England. He mentioned that in determining a suitable location for the placement of the observatory must consider altitude, and then latitude, light pollution, cloud cover, temperature, and then humidity, rainfall, and also wind speed, accessibility, seismicity, and auroral activity, and the last is political stability. But since Indonesia doesn't have an aurora, and the study is only in Indonesia, then the auroral activity and the political stability parameter can be excluded. After all those data are complete, I sort and score each parameter to get the result of ranking of the locations. And then the location with the highest score will then be compared to all equatorial observatory sites in other equatorial countries. And the last step is to analyze the result of the comparison. And for the scoring, the maximum score of the most preferred value is the same as the maximum number of the locations. For example, if I found 10 candidate locations, then the maximum score is 10. Or if I found 12 candidate locations, then the maximum score is 12. While the score of the location with the least preferred value will get score 1. The result of my research are there are 11 provinces in Indonesia which cross the equator line. From each province, I found 11 highest summit which is not a volcano, including their coordinate. These highlighted texts are the name of each summit. And now I start to make a comparison. First, I compare the altitude. I want to find the highest altitude because high altitude will reduce the thickness of air and increase the seeing. And I found the highest altitude that is in Mount Arfak in West Papua. So I give score 11 to this side, while this location that have the lowest altitude will get score 1. And the second one is the latitude. This parameter is used to measure the distance between each location to the equator line, so I want to find the closest one. I found the nearest location to the equator line that is in Mount Talakmau in West Sumatra. So I give score 11 to this side, while the farthest one will get score 1. And then I add the score to the previous score in the previous parameters to get the sum of score, which can be seen in the second row in the table below. And then the light pollution. And I want to find the lowest light pollution, of course. And the location with the lowest light pollution is in Mount Sojol, Central Sulawesi. While the location with the highest light pollution will get score 1. For the climate, I use BMKG's climate station in this municipality, a national agency on climate, to measure and find the lowest temperature because low temperature will reduce the thermal emission and improve the sensitivity of infrared observations. And then the lowest humidity, because it is still related to infrared light. And of course, the lowest rainfall, and that means the highest sunny hours, and the lowest wind speed, because even strong wind can shake the telescope, which can blur the image you produce. So I want to find the location with the lowest wind speed, and that is in Bukit Raya, Central Kalimantan. We also need to compare the accessibility, and in this parameter, I measure the distance between each location to the governor office. I want to find the nearest location to the governor office because the location must be accessible in time of building and when operation. The location that is the nearest to the governor office is Mount Klabat in North Sulawesi. And the last one is the risk of seismicity, which can be divided into risk of earthquake, landslide, forest fire, and volcano eruption. Of course, I want to find the lowest risk of seismicity. And in this last parameter, maybe it seems to be weird because almost all of the summits is safe from the volcano eruption. And that's because from the beginning, I've already searched for the summit which is not an active volcano. Now, since all those data are complete, I sort and score each location. And I found that the location with the highest score is Mount Sojol in Central Sulawesi. Besides Indonesia, there are several other countries which have several equatorial observatory. And these countries are Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, and in Indonesia. So there are 9 existing observatories in these 4 equatorial countries, and I compare it to the candidate location. However, I only use 4 parameters that are altitude, latitude, light pollution, and accessibility because these 4 parameters are the only parameters that I can only found for the other countries' observatory. After I measure each parameter on each location, I start the scoring again, but now the scoring is different. For example, when I found the location with the highest altitude, I'll give score 10 to that location because there are 10 locations in this comparison. And so with the latitude, like pollution and accessibility. From this table, we can see that there are 2 locations with the highest score, that is Quito in Ecuador and Monsocho, the candidate location. Now, however, because altitude, latitude, and light pollution is more important than the accessibility, if we assume that the accessibility is excluded, then Monsocho, the candidate location, will get higher score than Quito in Ecuador. Why is history parameters are more important than the accessibility? Because altitude, latitude, and light pollution will determine how good the quality of the sky objects that can be seen through the telescope, not with the accessibility. So the research succeeded to answer the question, does Indonesia can have the best location for an equatorial observatory in the world? And if Indonesia really built an observatory in this candidate location, it will develop the world scientists, including the young, to extend their curiosity and knowledge in astronomy. And not just to science, this opportunity may also benefit in the tourism and economy sector. However, if we really want to find the best site for equatorial observatory, I suggest that we have to do these 7 things for the future work. The first one is to include more summits in this province, and then use data from authorized resource to confirm the data, which collected from the public website such as NESA, ESA from Europe, and many else. And we can consider the assessing road conditions and water area for the accessibility, and we must complete the data for the other parameters for the other equatorial country observatory, which until now I still cannot find. And we can also consider the presence of research center or university as a parameter. We also must enhance the scoring by determining which parameter is the most important and set higher score to it. And the last is we can determine the type of observatory for a specific purpose. So yes, Indonesia can have the best location for an equatorial observatory in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Caladeo. And we have not yet any question in the Q&A, but Tomita-san raise hands. Please speak a question or comments.
Okay, so can you hear me, Petra?
Yes.
Okay, so your presentation is very impressive. So I have visited Indonesia once and I love your country. So my question is that in the last slide of your future work, number 6 and number 7. Okay, so can you show up your the summary future work slide?
The future work slide. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh yes, just before the last one.
This one?
Maybe third. Oh yes, this is. Okay, so the weighing the parameters, number 6. So I think it is very important because so what kind of observatory you are thinking of? For example, the amateur astronomy observatory. So the accessibility and the safety is very important, I think. So if you think about the professional observatory, then the fraction of the sunny days or the seeing and weather conditions are much important. So number 6 and number 7 are very important. So so how about thinking about the amateur casual observatory, high-class amateur observatory, and the professional research observatory? So you can think about the 3 types of observatories. So if you think about the casual observatory for amateur astronomer and the public people, then so you can weigh much more on the accessibility parameter. And if you think about the professional observatory, then you should focus more on the weather conditions parameters. So this is my suggestion.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks for the suggestion, sir.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Okay, who?
So me, Afifa. Sorry, I have no
Okay.
video for now. I just want to comment Tomita-san for the for the scientific observatory right now in Indonesia. They built a new one in more in the south of south of the equator because of the cloud cover and seeing and such problems. So the best site for scientific observatory right now is in East Nusa Tenggara. It's Timor Observatory. As far as I know, they collaborate with Kyoto University for the telescope, 3.8 meter telescope.
Okay. Thank you. In the future, I would
And
love
one
to
more
visit.
thing is in
Okay.
Lampung, they plan to build another observatory for the University Observatory. It's Hakim San as the director of the observatory. Maybe if you want to know more, you can contact Hakim San.
Okay, thank you very
But
much for your
Petra,
information.
really good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the next, Gustav would raise hand.
Yes, I raised my hand, and it's to first of all congratulate Petra for the work, and I think he's the youngest presenter ever in a GHOU conference.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm really very impressed by the quality of the work. Aviva commented that is part of a competition, right? A school competition. And I work with the Astronomy Olympiads. I was in Indonesia in 2015 for the International Olympiad. We'll have a talk tomorrow by Greg Stakovsky about the Olympiads. So it's really wonderful the quality of students' work in astronomy, particularly in Indonesia. And I wonder, I'll ask you, Petra, if he participates in the astronomy Olympiads as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you participate in the astronomy Olympiads, Petra?
Astronomy Olympiads. Actually, I never heard about that contest, sir.
Yeah, but you
Petra,
should.
It's
Oh, sorry.
the OSN, Olimpiade Sains Nasional.
Olimpiade Sains Nasional. Oh, okay. I've already heard about it, but I never participate in it before.
Okay, maybe you should.
Yes,
Yes.
I think I must do.
You have potential. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, my comment is that it's a very impressive and it's a very fresh idea of the GHOU presentation. So usually the senior persons thinking about astronomical research is research on celestial bodies and research on how to make understanding for the public citizens for the astronomical ideas. But your topic, what is the best observatory site? It is another good research work because there are several competitive factors as you show. So to evaluate totally, thinking about everything and decide one or the few candidates, it's a very good practice to solve the complicated problem. And not only that, but your conclusion is very, very impressive because no one knows your proposed site. So,
Yes.
you find that. So such kind of evaluation, say depending on the type of the observatory, as Tomita-san said, and also in some cases it should be thinking about which wavelengths So in my main research field is radio astronomy. So the radio condition and the optical condition and the infrared and the other wavelengths should be different. So such kind of thinking about which place is the best in your own country, and that should be the good competition. Indonesia should be the world top, but they say some other points, other countries might be the best. So to gather all ideas, that should be, that must be the best solution for the whole people living on this planet. Okay, there are so many, there are several comments in the chat field. Say, for example, the wonderful research. Hope the Astronomical Society takes your research seriously and gets benefited. And the other persons said very astounding research, nice information and great work, and so on. Okay, thank you very much for your idea and for your conclusions.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you too.
And please join the GHOU in 2022.
What, can you repeat again?
Please join the meeting in the coming year also.
Oh, okay, okay.
Welcome.
Okay, I hope I will.
Okay. So, see you.
Okay, どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとう。
Toshihiro-san.
Okay, so the time is up. So the